Good morning. It's Tim Kearns from the Great Lakes Observing System on day 3 of our survey and search for the missing NCAR plane that disappeared October 23rd, 1968, being led by the Smart Ships Coalition and the Michigan Technological University. There are a crew and uncrew of people and vessels in the field in Lake Superior searching for this aircraft. It had 3 people on board. And although there's been searches at the time and then some debris has floated ashore or been discovered over the years, the full record has never been found. And this is an intensive search happening this week. And the Great Lakes Observing System and the Smart Ships Coalition partners are bringing this live stream to you so you can follow along. So I'm joined today by Travis White. He's a research engineer at MTU, and he's in the field right now on the RV Soliton, following the ASV, the Autonomous Surface Vehicle, that is out collecting data. And they may be shadowed by another boat as well that's got an ROV equipped and ready to go in case they do discover anything. They can go down for further inspection. Travis, it's great to have you online. Tell us how it's going on day 3 of this search.
Hey, good morning, Tim. We're really excited to be checking in with you here on day 3. It's another surprisingly beautiful day on Lake Superior. It's actually been our roughest day on the water. We had a pretty good swell this morning, so we're out here right now on the Soliton, our 26-foot survey vessel, and we're using this to do our own survey lines and also chase the ASV. So fortunately, the ASV is doing its thing about 1.5 miles to the north of us, so chasing is really a loose term right now. And as I'm talking to you, I'm actually following a survey line, so we're collecting 2 lines of survey data in parallel side by side right now, using multi-beam systems on each of these 2 vessels. And I'm joined this morning by my operational crew from Ocean Infinity, Chad and James. I've also got Anthony Arnold on board, our research engineer, who's playing the role of hydrographer on our ASV data systems. And then also I've got Allie Johnson from Kongsberg, who's with us this morning, and she's running the Kongsberg 2040 system on board this vessel.
That's great. And it was great to see Allie yesterday and her colleagues showing us the actual system in operation on that pole that's mounted to your vessel. I'm wondering if you could share with us today a little bit more about the survey area itself. You explained how it's mowing the lawn or painting the lake floor, but it'd be great to be able to communicate sort of what that looks like in terms of the process that you're following with the vessel, the uncrewed vessel and the crewed vessel, to collect this data.
Yeah, absolutely. So we basically got a grid of survey lines that are running parallel to the Keweenaw. So yesterday we heard from Wayne Lizardi, who's the state's maritime archaeologist, and he's created a high likelihood search area based on historical information that he's recovered from the National Center of Atmospheric Research Archives. He's been in correspondence with the U.S. Coast Guard and of course, digging up a lot of local intel. So using some pieces of debris that washed ashore and drift calculations, we created a survey area that's about 8 miles offshore, and we're currently working a mow-the-lawn pattern. So if you picture a Zamboni going around an ice rink, essentially we're coming up and down these different lines back and forth, and we're covering about 1,000-foot swath width, meaning 500 feet of either side of this vessel. We can see the bottom of the lake, and we're mapping that as we go. So what we're doing with these mow-the-lawn patterns is we are going from north to south, and then coming back south to north, and we're overlapping our swath. So the 500 foot either side of the boat, we're overlapping that by roughly 20 or 30%. As we go. Now that's a function of water depth, so that changes a little bit. And that overlap is designed to make sure we're getting good, consistent coverage of the lake bed using these multi-beam systems. And that also helps adjust for a little bit of air in my manual driving as we're doing right now with the helm. And of course, the ASV is a lot more autonomous in that it's running these lines within feet of precision. So doing a much better job than I have been looking at my graph in front of me. So I'll stop there, and I'd like to also introduce Chad Bonin from Ocean Infinity, who's standing to my side. I'm going to pass the phone to him, and he can explain the ASV operations.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
so,
Chad.
Yeah, right now we have the ASV is running its line right now. We're on line number 5 of 19 throughout the whole survey area. And what's good about this, with the 2 boats working in tandem, we can cover a lot more area in a short amount of time. So this was a great idea to have the vessel, our ASV vessel, and the Soliton at the same time. But let me see if I can spin this around, and I'll show you what I'm looking at on the helm right quick. So we were talking about the lawnmower pattern, right? So I don't know if you can see. You see right here where my mouse cursor is at? That's actually the position of the ASV vessel right now, and it's running in a southwest line right now. The next line over will be going from the southwest up to the northeast, which is considered lawnmower pattern. You're going to do one heading one way and then a reciprocal heading the opposite way. So I'll zoom out. I hope you can see this. Here is actually the survey pattern, and it consists of the 4 corners of the survey area that Wayne has already provided, and I've created the line pattern in here. Every 1,000 feet separation. And so the ASV is working the north half of the survey area, and Soliton is working the southern half of the survey area. I guess it would be more so, northwest and southeast side. If you see here, I have live camera feeds coming back from the ASV vessel. I have my forward position, port, starboard, and aft cameras on right now. So we're sitting on the Soliton, and I'm still able to monitor this vessel throughout everything it's doing through the day, just with position alone and camera feed. On this side of the page, I can flip through different menus, and I can monitor the engine temperature, the RPM that it's it's spinning the props and everything else. We can monitor course over ground, the heading that it's on, speed over ground, and its position. So everything that, even though the vessel is 1.5 miles, 2 miles away, we see everything that it's doing in real time from the Soliton chase boat. Just to touch a little bit on what Travis was saying about this vessel is being used now, and it's doing a great job. It took some time to get it to this point. Originally, these vessels were used with our Houghton AEV systems, and they're a small vessel, and we were looking for the aircraft MH370, the Malaysian airline that went down. I think it's 2017 or 2016. They served a certain purpose, but because it was such a big open ocean, the Indian Ocean, the sea state was very, very hard on these little vessels. So they decided to just over time that the vessels were just not being used because of the sheer small size of them in the role. Well, then Ocean Infinity decided to go ahead and invest in what is a gyro stabilizer. And now, I mean, this little vessel is perfect for what we're doing now in like lakes, streams, bays, and things like that. Once that gyro stabilizer was introduced to the vessel, it eliminates pretty much all of the roll and any major movement. That comes with environmental conditions like rough seas or this chop that we have going on right now. Speaking of, the boats jumping around. So with that added stabilizer, that also really fine-tuned the way we can survey with this as well. With taking away that kind of motion, you get really good data. Not a lot of sway in the boat. So yeah, it's doing well. It's doing its thing, and we're running our lawnmower patterns, and we're tackling this best way we can. 2 boats, short amount of time.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. That's great, and a good comparison, albeit a smaller scale, to the MH370.
Yeah.
Um, but certainly appreciate the sea state conditions and how that affects the data quality. My experience is more in the modeling of the data, so I'm very familiar with what happens when you have poor data or systematic errors in the data. A question that what might be interesting to our viewers as well is, are you collecting sound, speed, velocity profiles, and are you correcting the data, in post-processing?
Yes, we're doing a sound velocity cast in the morning. We get on location, and that's being uploaded into each system. So we have the Kongsberg multi-beam system, and we have the Norman multi-beam system. So that's being applied first thing in the morning, and then we'll do another cast in the evening.
Okay, and maybe just explain for people the importance of measuring the speed of sound in water. But,
Oh yeah, I mean it helps out with the with the density and different things, different aspects to data. Sorry about that. I'm trying to hold on at the same time. With data collection,
yeah.
and final processing of the data. So what we're doing is we have an acoustic multi-beam system. So your speed of sound in the water, it needs to basically, it gives you the idea of like what how big of a pulse or how strong of a pulse we need, and it also allows, what's the word I'm thinking of? It gives a reference to the multi-beam system on how powerful of a pulse it needs to actually send it down to see that to be able to get a return back for that kind of data.
All right, thank you for that. Now, are we able to get Anthony to maybe share his screen on? Are we able to see the data processing feed, or is that possible today?
I believe so. Here, I'll hand this back to Travis while Anthony comes in into it.
All right, thanks so much, Chad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be great to have a look. Now, I don't think we have a feed for you today of the. Oh, this is on the vessel, right? This is streaming from the uncrewed autonomous surface vessel collecting the data. This is great that we're able to see some modeled data. I think yesterday and the day before we were showing you kind of the raw data that's coming in, but on your screen now you can see what it looks like when the software artificially applies shading and sunlight to the data. And that's what we end up creating, something called an elevation model or a digital elevation model. Some people call it a digital terrain model. But as you zoom in, you can see we don't have the best bandwidth today, but hopefully you can see some of these shadows that are cast on the lake floor. Now, I don't know who's controlling this. Maybe they can give us their interpretation of what those lines on the lake floor may be from.
Thanks, Tim. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you fine.
So as you can see here, this is sort of a bathymetric representation of the data we've been collecting out in the field. As Chad and Travis were just explaining, one really huge upside of the ASB is how straight we could run our survey lines. Oftentimes, a human is at the helm, and there's just inherent error in a human behind the wheel, especially out in the water. So, this ability to be able to really run straight survey lines helps, because every time you turn the multi-beam, essentially, the beam starts to break up on the turn, as you can see in this point here, right here. You can see this sort of noisy data on the outside edge of the turn, and for comparison, you can see a human driving here, a very squiggly line, but we're able to run these very straight lines with the ASB, which is one of the big upsides of this vehicle. And these features that you're seeing here in the bathymetry are real ice scours or other bed forms, real natural bed forms in the lake bed that we're able to pick up in pretty high detail with these multi-beam systems.
Yeah, that's pretty well. And yet another plug for self-driving vehicles, I see.
Indeed, indeed. Yes. A couple other products we hope to, they're not quite ready for prime time yet, but we're able to also create a backscatter layer, which is essentially a representation of the intensity of the return. So a brighter part of the image here is a harder return. So we expect if we saw something like part of a plane or another man-made object or other rocks, they really stick out in the lake bed here. So just another tool that the multi-beam can provide. And just to give you a little look at some potential targets that we've been seeing in the lake bed that might get folks excited. Again, going back to the backscatter, these sort of bright blips you're seeing here. They could be anomalies in the data, but they're definitely a target that we marked out on for reconnaissance. And so, this could be a real feature or some potential target down the lake bed of interest. And another really exciting one we saw last night coming in. This could be a shipwreck. We went back and tried to look for it. Second time, we weren't able to locate it, but it is another potential site for deploying our underwater vehicle for reconnaissance. And just another example of sort of a harder, sort of ship-shaped object in our waterfall view here that we're seeing in real time and snapping pictures on the fly so we can go back and recon those sites basically.
Thanks very much, Anthony. This is really interesting stuff. And for those of you online who are watching, this is not photographic or video. This is all recreated, basically imagery from sonar data that's being transmitted from these vessels, both uncrewed and crewed. So it's not so simple as we'll go search for a plane and just see it on the bottom of the lake. This is really, this is what, 400 meters of water, or 400 feet of water, I should say. And we're dealing with all kinds of stuff: sea state, the velocity of sonar, sound in water, and then, of course, the ability of this software to recreate these images for us. So thanks for showing us that, Anthony. It's super interesting, and even more interesting that it's live. This is happening in real time right now, that you're able to see this stuff. So we wish you all the best. We wish you continued good weather. You've had pretty good weather so far this week. It's great to be able to go do a survey and not have any weather delays. And apart from the ASV getting a little bit of water on it and ruining one of your laptops, hopefully everything else has been relatively smooth sailing this week. And we look forward, maybe we can check in with you tomorrow. I don't think we have any more check-ins today planned, but be great if you folks are available to check in tomorrow. We would appreciate that. And maybe we'll get an update at that point of some of those targets that you've identified to see if you've got any more additional information on it.
Absolutely. We look forward to it.
All right.
Thank you, Tim. We're looking forward to checking in tomorrow. And as Anthony alluded to, it's a little idealistically, but we are working on processing that backscatter as sort of a large area map, sort of comprehensive view of the survey. And we're hoping Friday we'll be able to be sitting down at a conference room table with a large screen in front of us as opposed to on this boat, so that this entire team can share that with you and the audience and maybe discuss this whole operation in a little more detail. That really gets to the last point that even though we've spent all this time on the water looking for the plane, there's a lot of work to do after the fact, really going through processing the data and working with you all to make sure that it is contributed to the Lake Bed 2030 initiative.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for bringing that up, Travis. And we look forward to chatting with you again tomorrow and hearing more results. And Travis did mention the Lake Bed 2030 initiative that you can learn more at lakebed2030.org. That's being led by, it's a broad coalition of partners, including Northwestern Michigan College and Great Lakes Observing System and NOAA and the Canadian government and MTU, and many other people are involved in this. This is an initiative to fully map and explore the Great Lakes, which surprisingly has never been done in high resolution before. So the types of models that we were just showing you, those elevation models that were on Anthony's screen, we'd like to have that for the entire lake floor of the Great Lakes and imagine the phenomenal discoveries that will be made, let alone contributions to science and understanding climate change and the changing and dynamic environment of the Great Lakes itself. So we look forward to this. This is just one small piece of the puzzle, building a complete and high density coverage map of the Great Lakes lake floor. Well, thanks, Travis. We'll see all of you folks again tomorrow. And thanks for your time and your update today, and good luck out there. All right, folks, that's it for now. This is another live stream from the Great Lakes Observing System on the Smart Ships Coalition and Michigan Technological University survey, along with many other partners. Check out our LinkedIn page and some of the social media posts or news articles that are out. You can see some of the other partners on screen. Norbit, Ocean Infinity, QPS, Kongsberg, National Museum of the Great Lakes, the Shipwreck Association, Michigan Economic Development, Eagle, Interlake, and of course us, the Great Lakes Observing System. So check in tomorrow at our next live stream for more information and updates on the missing plane search that's happening this week in Lake Superior. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.